Garrett Edelstein here, your celeb expert and your Celeb Savant. Celeb Savant is a weekly entertainment show. We have long-form career retrospective type interviews with celebrities, singers, actors, and industry experts. The divine infinite energy of her universe goddess, Jessica Mbangeni, has come to nourish the world, wailing to Mother Earth to shift and shape herself through song and poetry. Jessica says, I have come to serve my purpose, and mine is simply to spread the spirit of one love through my voice in song, poetry, and dance. The two albums, namely I Am an African and Jazz to the World, were promoted in Dubai during 2020 Expo, attended by world leaders including South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa, hosted by Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed of the United Arab Emirates. Recently, she had gigs in New York and at the South African Embassy in Washington, D.C. for a celebration of South African Freedom Day on April 27, 2022. Her North American tour continued with the performance with the Bob Marley maternal family at the Wallace Family Reunion in Philadelphia. She then returned to the U.S. Capitol for the Passport DC event at the South African Embassy, where thousands came to view exhibitions from various sectors and institutions. With a number of other accomplishments and recognitions under her belt. Up next on Celeb Savant, we've got Jessica Mbangeni. Where do we find you in the world? How are you doing and what's happening in your life?
Jessica Mbangeni is a global trotter, an artist of note, a storyteller, cultural collaborator. You'll find everywhere in the world. Where is the platform? Such as the corporate, public sector, festivals, concerts across the world. I'm the founder member of the 3-time Grammy Award-winning Soweto Gospel Choir. I've traveled the world in 7 seas, growing up from the rural areas of Makwe in the Eastern Cape, finding my way to Johannesburg. Before that, that is the greatest story and an experience of my life, greatest treasure, where we say today, I'm coming from a disadvantaged background. But when I look at the world, actually, the majority of the landscapes of the world are disadvantaged than the place of birth, with such rich stories and rich culture, and being born as a South African in South Africa with rich cultural diversity. So I'm a multi-talented artist who is a composer, producer of her own albums through her record label, Kwantu Entertainment Designs. I also run a Kwantu clothing company, Kwantu Afrocentric Designs, where we manufacture indigenous traditional outfits and adapt it into your corporate, your bridals, and we promote the handmade crafts and all that. We diversify multi-disciplinary, so in the arts terrain where we dwell more on the visual arts, including ceramics, paintings. So it's a whole lot of collaboration. I found out that as an artist, you need to be a curator, because we are very fortunate, because we'll end up into platforms that needs more of us. So as an artist, I saw it very important that we have an opportunity to land in various spaces that need more diverse artistic businesses, because as artists, we are businesses. Yeah. So I'm always the hub of communication. I was running a casting agency, which was composed of TV adverts, international movies, working with Abo Krista Skemba, Abo Moonin Lee, great casting directors of global movies. That gave me an opportunity to really have a sense of appreciation and always see us, not me. As a result, I don't do acting roles. I don't take them, because it's all about you. And when you are acting, you mostly communicate with your audiences, and you are communicating with production, we're communicating with your fellow artists. So I'm a person who believes in collaboration. Collaboration means integrated developmental models.
Lovely. I love that.
Yes.
So you've got a finger in a number of pies. So at what age, whether it was 5 or 10 or 15, at what age did you think, okay, cool, I want to be in the entertainment industry? And how did that flow to you being having so many roles in the entertainment industry?
I was 3 years old. I used to sing Brenda Fass's song, Michael
Yes.
Jackson. I love Michael Jackson. Beat it! Beat it! So I was dancing, singing. And I really, in my life, I always wanted to be in the entertainment industry as a singer. I never knew about acting. For me, I love reality as much as acting is talent, but I'm more of an emotional and a spiritual person. So I do not want to dig emotions and get into. I love the muse that I possess, a poetic muse that they don't step out of my comfort zone, but I am able to narrate and tell the stories from any point. It should be acting, but absolutely, it's different when you're a poet.
Yes. So how did you come to develop the Soweto Gospel Choir? Tell us that journey.
The Soweto Gospel Choir was spotted by international Australian investors who decided to hold auditions and create the Soweto Gospel Choir. So I entered there already. They had 32 voices, including the reserves. But I said to them, they must just give me that opportunity to audition so that the next project they will be embarking on, they should have a praise poet.
Yes.
And they couldn't resist me. They took me same time, and I started to travel the world on 7 seas. And it happened so soon because they were already traveling.
Yes.
So it happened that already they were on the way. And then I joined the wagon, started doing the publicity shoot. So I started to do publicity shoots abroad. And it was my first time. I never knew so much work that is being done abroad. And I remember the time I was jet lagged. And for me, it was coming from the rural in Namakwe to the world. Because they asked us a question, because some of us worked with Michael Jackson's, Whitney Houston's, because they were with the Family Factory. They worked with Miriam Makeba. And they asked us if we know Miriam Makeba. And my fellow artists couldn't respond. And then I jumped onto the answer and said, oh, yes, Miriam Makeba is our fan. So it was disturbing because most especially with me, I was the beginner in the entertainment industry, but the international audiences, they were like, wow, being a fan of somebody, it's not an insult. It does not have to be old. Yes. So with my peers, they were like, Miriam Makeba cannot be our fan. We're supposed to be her fan. So I changed my mind. I said, what's wrong that Miriam Makeba can't be our fan?
Exactly.
Because she should be the fan of our work that we are doing. We are being authentic. We're taking the African culture as she has been doing. So those are the challenges I came across, because it felt like I was overestimating myself. But I love the standard that I set for myself out of my ubugagu, out of the confidence.
Yes.
It was the greatest affirmation of my life that after traveling North America, 37 cities in North America, and being nominated for the first Grammy, I decided to resign. Resigning because we were not allowed to register our intellectual property with SAMROS and CAPASOS, all the South African institutions. We're not allowed to gain from our creativity the royalties. And I felt that those are the things that will deter my life when I've grown, because I've got a long-term vision of my life. And I didn't want to pretend as if I was happy with the Grammy, happy working with Beyonce's, Peter Gabriel's, Angelique Kidjo's, your Anastasia's, your Bono's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sharing backstages and stages and with big Johnny Cleggs and them. I said, the most important person in my life is not my face, my heart.
I love that.
I had to cut my little heart because I knew the depth that it possesses of the African heritage. Then I came back home. I resigned from Soweto Gospel Choir. Then I started my businesses. And I started researching, and then I began to get into the industry, understanding why artists are being oppressed, why artists are being deprived the right to know.
How do you balance your life wearing so many hats? The clothing, the poetry, the artist, the creation of the poetry and the music. How do you balance all of that?
I balance it through it's a hereditary to me, because at home we're running businesses. My grandmother was making indigenous traditional outfits, your bridal gowns, Western, and also running agriculture, subsistence farming, and commercial. My dad as well running the business. So even at school, we are taught to be able to versatile. We do 9 subjects.
Yes.
So there's no way that we can say we cannot manage. We are trained to manage. And for me, planning is the most important thing. And knowing the value chain gives me interest, because it's my way of life. And this is how I live my life. I've got no other opportunity or what you call other source of income other than what I'm doing.
What's next for Jessica? You said you've got that long plan or long-term vision. What is that vision?
This vision is to live my life the way I do right now. It's in reality, owning my own clothing manufacturing company and exporting and getting into the platforms whereby I'm able to sell the spoken word. The spoken word speaks to my brand. Yes. To stand tall and always having plans, doing things that elevate my brand. That is a long-term vision of my brand.
Absolutely. So just growing it and being authentic and representing it and being you.
Yes, that's it. And with opportunities that come our way, opening stores in Dubai,
yes,
collaborating with big champions like Usia Kolisi, with the Rock Nation, baby, what I'm saying, on clothing. Yes. Those are long term, because each and every drop of the royalty that comes out, even when I'm gone, is the legacy. Yes. Of my children.
Jessica, I know if I had to ask you this question in 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, I know your answer will be different every time. And I recognize that. But if you had to play 5 songs by other artists once we have finished this conversation, what would be those 5 songs and by whom?
Okay, the first song would be by Busim Songo.
Yeah.
Ndiyamthanda umama, I think umama ne. Mere Makeba, African Sunset.
Yes.
Sibongile Khumalo, Ubizo, Ondibiziwe. And the fourth one will be Neria by Oliver Mtikutsi.
Okay.
And the fifth one will be Theta by Victor Ndoni.
You've got a new album coming out shortly, am I correct?
I've got 2 albums out, my darling. The first one is Jazz to Well, produced by Dr. Duzo Makatini.
Yes.
Featuring Celeb Mbangeni, which is my brother.
Okay.
We're keeping wealth at home, baby.
Yeah.
Generational
yes.
And I've also collaborated with Blondie Magene on the what you call a cappella album.
Yes.
I've worked with a choir from Val Choir, and upcoming poets, and that one is produced by Nati Banda. So the a cappella helps me a lot when I collaborate with choirs abroad. Recently, I've collaborated with a choir, with a cappella choirs in Canada, in Vancouver. It's called Sing Festival. And my music is adapted there, and my music is now being adapted. Okay. So it's adapted for the female voices in Argentina. And surprisingly, already they were singing Xhosa songs.
Oh, wow.
Just imagine, in Argentina, they don't even speak English, but they have got so much interest in Xhosa. And I found them singing a Xhosa song that says, and then we started working right there as running workshops, teaching them the diction,
yes,
articulation of words, and also the meaning of the songs.
Jessica, you've got so many hats and so many goals and visions. So to inspire our listening audience, as a final message, what would you like to say to them?
Be authentic, emancipate yourself from any kind of standards of this world that are set to divert your gifts and talents and your authenticity. Align yourself with who you are. Marcus Garvey said, we must emancipate ourselves from the mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds.